Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a long trip, I guess. I don't know. I haven't been around for a while. I've been working a lot and not doing anything YouTube related at all, really. I did go to the track one more time after we changed the brakes, and it was a good time. In fact, it was so good that it figured out that I couldn't keep the car cool. So I went and ordered a bunch of parts, and that's what this video is going to be. We're going to unbox everything and start putting it on. So let's get started. We'll talk about what everything is. Okay, well, if you couldn't guess, we got a bunch of Mishimoto parts. I ended up going with their expansion tank, so we'll just drop all that for now. Wanted to have a little bit more capacity, so we ordered the black Mishimoto coolant expansion tank, and this thing's nice. It's a little heavier than the plastic one, but it's also bigger, and it should work better, or at least that's what they claim. And then, not cooling related, but I went ahead and bought their gas pedal spacer, because it's real hard to heel toe shift this car because the gas pedal sits so much lower physically than the brake pedal that your foot would have to bend the wrong direction to really be able to do it. So we're gonna get this tossed on in a little bit. And then I went ahead and I bought a Mishimoto oil cooler setup. And I guess I went with the black oil cooler. I don't really know why I did, but I did anyway. And instead of buying the kit that was direct bolt, I went ahead and bought a the 24 row instead of the 19 row. Unfortunately, the way Mishimoto prints their label, the fittings go down. Or I mean, I suppose you could mount it up, but in our application, because the flat side bolts up and into the front, it puts the M upside down. So we're gonna end up putting it backwards so that you don't see the W, as it were. And then this box just has the rest of those parts to go with that, including the lines and all of the fun stuff. So the next couple of things I actually ended up getting secondhand from a Facebook forum. I found a guy who was selling Mishimoto's catch can. I'm not really going to help with cooling, but because the turbo car and the way these things love to breathe oil, I figured we'll put catch can on the front side, and then they actually have two PCVs, so this one goes between the engine block and the intake manifold, and then there's another one on the back side of the motor. It goes from the valve cover into the intake, and I've got another catch can I've had for a while hiding over there. Yeah, there it is. We're gonna actually put on there as well, I think. And then the last thing I got really excited about, also ended up with it secondhand, but is the Mountain triple pass radiator. It's just got a couple little dings and dents on the fence, but overall, I've seen worse, and they're not really going to affect anything. Even dented, I imagine it'll cool significantly better than stock. And then there's a individual on the old. There's an individual on the old Focus ST forum that built some ducting. I'll have to look up his name, and I'll probably say it again later when I actually start cutting and drawing and bending this ducting that helps to send air through the radiator and intercooler, and in our case oil cooler, and then that should make a huge difference for cooling as well. So I had ordered radiator hoses, but they haven't shown up yet, and I don't want to change it twice. I don't want to drain coolant just to change hoses, so I'm just not going to put them in. I'm going to cancel the order, tell them don't ship them, and then move on. but I think we've got enough stuff to put on the car right now. First things first though is we got to get the car off the ground, start draining the coolant, and I'll pull the bumper off. And then once the bumper's off, we'll start pulling the radiator out. And I might end up having to take the intercooler off, but I shouldn't. If I do, it's no big deal. It's a couple of bolts. We're gonna shave the grill down, and then I'll pull the intake manifold off to put the catch can system on, and I'll probably clean up the intake valves a little bit then. And once everything's done, we'll probably work on the intake tube, PCV, and manifold. Words. Sorry guys, it's a lot going on in my head and not a lot actually happening out here. But I'm hoping to get most of this stuff done. Today is Monday. It's already 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm hoping to get everything torn apart today, so that tomorrow I can get it all put back together and then get this video posted. And I might do this in 2 videos. I might post a video tonight and then post tomorrow's video, and then Wednesday we go back to Button Willow with Caliber Customs and their organized track day, and we'll have some fun and see if we can't set a new PB, which I did up from my last video. I think I ran something like 216 in my last one, and then I ran fastest I did was like a 210 on CW13 at Button Willow. And I was on a much faster run, but somewhere along the way the car hit like 240 degrees and it shut itself down. So I lost like a 204, 205 to car overheating, and that's when I decided we got to do something about it, because it's not good enough. We need to be able to run consistent laps, fast laps. So I'm gonna kick the camera to time lapse, find a charger for my phone so it doesn't die, and we'll send it. You guys can watch and hang out with me while I yank the front of my car apart. Let's do it. Well, as you can see from the time lapse, and right here, we got the radiator out, and just visually looking at it, the Mountain radiator, significantly larger cord. So at this point, we could start putting everything back together essentially with the new radiator and getting everything transferred over. We're not done taking stuff apart yet. I want to go ahead and pull the intake manifold off. And once I get that done, and I can put the catch can system on, and once the catch can's on, then we can start putting things back together. So I think that whole time took me like 30 minutes, which is impressive because I thought it would take me a lot longer. So I'm going to let this radiator drain out completely, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull the fans off of it and get ready to put them on the new one. So, or rather the fan. So we'll see what happens. right, so the intake manifold's off. I think you saw that in the time lapse. I went ahead and like figured out how to do this in the internal. It's weird the way they have these lines routed and laid out. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of how they have sort of just flopped in there. So otherwise, it's not bad. Honestly, the intake manifold is pretty easy to take off. To be fair, I've done it once already, so I kind of knew what to expect from it. Let's get this clamp on. I bought this second hand, so it was kind of already pre-assembled, so I didn't have to worry about doing it. But either way, it's no big deal. So we'll just kind of get this hose tucked in here, like I guess it's going to be. And then this hose, which is the one that goes to the intake manifold, will sit here as well. And this guy is the charge pipe, and it'll go, and you can't really see everything, but I think just for ease of installation, I think I'm going to go ahead and leave the intake off for the moment. I'm going to just toss the radiator in place, just so I can see for the oil cooler lines and start to get that all sorted in place. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making stuff up as I go. This is going much faster than I expected though, which is good, because I kind of expected it to take quite a while. So, yeah, there's that. And when I looked at the intake, there isn't a ton of oil in the runners. In fact, there's really no oil in the runners. So I'm not terribly worried that I'm not terribly worried that there's a ton of carbon buildup or anything on the valves, because you know the motor seems to run pretty good and everything. But all right, well, I think I'm going to do some off-camera testing and fitting. I might run it as a time lapse just to see how it goes, but let us see, I guess, what happens next, and we'll go from there. Okay, guys, I managed to get the intake put back on and some other stuff, but as you can see, it is now dark, so you probably can't, but the intake is back on. The catch can is done, and I have run the oil cooler lines from the sandwich plate up to the front. So tomorrow, and I'm going to try to post another video, we're going to get the radiator put back in, and then once that's back in the whole front of the car minus the bumpers buttoned up, we will then mount the oil cooler, and we'll shave the bumper, and then, like I said, we will try to make this shroud air duct that helps to funnel air to the intercooler and intake. But for now, thanks for watching, and have a nice day.